Reborn with my wife on the day we registered our marriage at the city hall. The moment we got our marriage certificate, we wordlessly turned around in unison and headed straight to the law firm to file for divorce. The clerk cursed us as lunatics, saying he'd never seen anything like this in all his years. Stop clinging to me, you loser. I deserve the best man out there. After that, she went abroad with her male confidant to pursue her literary dreams while I stayed in the country to further my studies. 5 years later, she had become a moderately famous best-selling author, enjoying both wealth and fame. Yet she thought I had been reduced to a food truck vendor selling fast food, mocking me with sarcastic remarks. Until she discovered I was already worth billions with a beautiful wife by my side. Then she broke down in hysterics. I'm your wife, and you actually cheated on me behind my back. One on the eve of the literary summit, my ex-wife from a past life, Isabella Rossi, returned to the country with her husband Ryan Carter. Now a best-selling author at the height of her literary fame, she was a far cry from the woman she had been as my wife in that past life. To make a splash, Isabella had specially chartered a private jet to take everyone to the venue. I arrived at the boarding gate just as everyone was showering her with compliments. Bella had a literary gift back in school. Everyone considered her the next Joan Didion. Winning this award brings honor to us all. Mr. Carter is such a promising young man. This private jet must cost tens of millions, right? A flash of pride crossed Isabella's eyes as she smiled demurely. Oh, it's nothing special to play an ISNT. That expensive, please don't exaggerate. I was running late, and by the time I arrived at the airport, the sweet female voice on the announcement was already calling for boarding. Ethan, we bet you wouldn't dare show up. How could I miss it? This is probably the only chance in this food cart vendor's life to board plane. Where's your cheese sandwich? Why didn't you bring some for us to try? Oh, wait, I forgot that kind of stuff can't be taken on flights. Who would eat that greasy stuff? What food cart vendor they call entrepreneurship? These old classmates couldn't wait to mock me from afar, each taking turns with their jabs. Someone even crouched down, mimicking the motion of flipping sandwiches on a grill, drawing laughter from the crowd. They were all dressed to the nines while I stood out awkwardly in my casual sportswear. Isabella crossed her arms and strode forward in her high heels, exuding an intimidating aura as she looked down at me with disdain. Now accustomed to her high-status position, her immaculate updo and stylish designer suit made her look utterly aristocratic. Just a few years apart, and you've fallen so low as to run a food truck. Good thing we divorced. I could never stomach eating grilled cheese sandwiches every day. Isabella South, former close male friend and current husband Ryan Carter, wrapped his arm around her waist and said starting a business requires real capability. It's not something just any Tom, Dick, or Harry can succeed at. Isabella burst into laughter. You're absolutely right, darling Ethan. Take this opportunity to broaden your horizons. Who knows, maybe someone will appreciate your sandwich-making skills and be willing to invest. The crowd joined in the mockery. Investing in Ethan might as well invest in a block of cheese. At least cheese is good for something, as for Ethan, utterly useless. Just a little joke. Ethan, you're not so petty as to actually mind, are you? I frowned, remembering how Ryan had posted a photo of me standing by a food truck in our alumni group chat last time. Then rumors started spreading that my business had failed and I was running a food truck to pay off debts. In reality, I just donated a new wing to the university library that day. There happened to be a community garden nearby, so I was making grilled cheese sandwiches with the professor for the students. Isabella smirked when she saw my silence. Face it, it's too late for regrets now. Without letting her finish, I walked past her to board the plane, leaving her stomping her feet in anger behind me. My classmates, experiencing a private jet for the first time, were buzzing with excitement, exploring every corner with wide-eyed wonder. I was particularly interested and simply chose a window seat to settle in. When the flight attendant handed out drinks, I asked for a glass of water, which made Isabella burst out laughing. Country bumpkin, the drinks are free. Never been on a plane before. Couldn't you at least ask? Everyone, eager to please Isabella, started making fun of me again. If he can't afford soda, he definitely can't afford this water. This is Evian 10 yuan a bottle. One sip of this could buy Ethan half a day's worth of sandwich sales. I didn't plan to explain myself. After all, it had been years since graduation, and I didn't have much connection with these classmates anymore. With even fewer chances to meet in the future, why should I care about their opinions? Besides, you can't wake people who are pretending to sleep. Ryan Carter sneered as he placed the entire bottle of Evian before me. Ethan can drink as much as he likes. After all, not everyone can afford this water. The sarcasm in her words couldn't have been more obvious. When Isabella first invited me, I refused, having already guessed her ill intentions. But my wife in this life, Chloe Miller, happened to be on a business trip in New York, and I thought I'd keep her company. That's why I casually agreed. The reason Isabella harbors such hostility toward me now is simply because in our past life, everything had gone terribly wrong. She was already vain and loved reading novels, constantly fantasizing about having an earth-shattering romance with a wealthy heir. After marrying me, she realized how far real married life was from her imagination. She complained every day, saying I'd held her back. I also felt guilty for not being able to provide my wife with a wealthy life. So I worked desperately, taking on 3 jobs at once. I had originally been admitted to graduate school to further my studies in mechanical engineering. It had always been my dream. But Isabella absolutely refused to let me quit my job to go back to school. She spent lavishly on designer brands and spa treatments every month. If I resigned, she wouldn't be able to maintain her extravagant lifestyle. Since she was unwilling, I stopped pressing the matter, but her resentment toward me only grew deeper with time. She constantly said she'd given up her writing dreams for me, yet I couldn't provide the life she wanted. The accumulated arguments and dissatisfaction eventually led her to develop severe depression, and she dragged me with her when she jumped off a building. When I opened my eyes again, we had both been reborn, holding the freshly issued marriage certificate in our hands. We didn't hesitate for a second before immediately filing for divorce. A sudden turbulence jolted me back to reality from my memories of the past life. The aircraft is experiencing turbulence. Please fasten your seatbelts. What is going on? This turbulence is too strong. Is the plane going to be all right? We encountered strong turbulence, and the shaking gradually intensified. Everyone's belongings were thrown upward, shattering the overhead safety indicator lights. The flight attendant suddenly rushed to the cockpit, only to be informed that the co-pilot's hand was fractured and needed emergency treatment. The flight attendant stabilized the co-pilot's arm and asked for our help to fetch the first aid kit. But no one knew where the first aid kit was. Mr. Carter, this is your private jet. How could you not know either? Ryan Carter's eyes flickered with panic as he forced a smile, saying how could he possibly not know? But after searching several places, he still couldn't find the first aid kit. Everyone broke out in nervous sweat during the commotion, especially Isabella, who hurriedly offered an awkward explanation. Ryan is usually busy. It's perfectly normal for him not to know such trivial things. Ryan Carter certainly couldn't have known where the first aid kit was located because this plane didn't belong to him. It was mine. Last week a friend asked to borrow my plane, and I lent it without much thought. After all, I don't use it often, and it would just sit idle otherwise. I just never expected my friend was borrowing it for Ryan Carter. The first aid kit is under the first row of seats, I said, and everyone fell silent the moment I spoke. Isabella looked at me with disdain in her eyes. Ethan, don't make things worse at a time like this. Exactly, Ethan. Even Mr. Carter doesn't know where it is. How could you possibly know? Showing off isn't appropriate in this situation, I sighed softly, ignoring their dissuasion as I walked straight to the front row of seats. Reaching underneath, I pulled out the first aid kit in one smooth motion. The flight attendant thanked me, leaving everyone exchanging bewildered glances. Ryan Carter couldn't hide his astonishment, and Isabella quickly stepped in to smooth things over. I almost forgot Ethan studied engineering. It's no surprise he knows the plane's layout. Ryan Carter hastily agreed. Exactly, Bella's right. I never pay attention to such trivial matters. Ask me about finance or the stock market, and I'm your guy. No one questioned it further while I lowered my head and smiled. Watching them put on airs in front of the real deal was almost painful. For old time's sake, I decided not to expose them yet. After the flight attendant finished bandaging, the co-pilot came up to us and asked if anyone among us knew how to fly a plane. Everyone turned to look at Ryan Carter, saying his Instagram was full of photos and airplane cockpits, so he must know how to fly. Ryan Carter looked troubled for a moment, but quickly regained his composure and stared at me with ill intent as he said, "Of course I can fly it, but isn't there an engineering PhD here? Surely fly a plane wouldn't be difficult for him." Isabella leaned against Ryan Carter's chest and burst out laughing. "Ethan, don't tell me you can't suspect your PhD certificate was a fake bought for $5. I couldn't help but give them a little common sense education. Studying mechanical engineering doesn't mean you can fly a plane, just like studying architecture doesn't mean you can lay bricks, and studying logistics doesn't make you a delivery guy." Ryan Carter wore a mocking smile. "Forgot you only know how to make grilled cheese sandwiches. Asking you to fly a plane would indeed be asking too much." The co-pilot came to ask again, and Ryan Carter grabbed my shoulder, pushing me forward. "This is your chance to prove yourself. Don't act like a coward." His face was full of contempt, waiting to see me make a fool of myself. I walked into the cockpit, followed by a burst of laughter behind me. They thought I would be kicked out soon, but it wasn't until the turbulence subsided that the captain personally escorted me out. "Thank you, Mr. Scott. You've been a great help." Mr. Scott's skills are as reliable as ever. Everyone looked at me with disbelief, their gazes seemingly transformed. Ryan Carter's face darkened as he turned to the group and said it was just assisting with minor tasks, nothing difficult, even an 8-year-old could do it. "Then why didn't you do it yourself? Are you saying you're worse than an 8-year-old? You Ryan Carter's face twisted in anger at me, yet he couldn't outright lose his temper, so he simply fell silent. I couldn't be bothered with him either and asked the flight attendant for water, but Ryan Carter beat me to it, tossing his soda can at me. The moment I caught it, the soda sprayed all over me, instantly staining my white shirt with splotches utterly humiliating. Ryan Carter, oops, canned drinks on planes are so prone to exploding basic high school physics. Dr. Scott, don't tell me you didn't know that. Guess we'll have to wait and buy a set at the airport. Look at my memory. I forgot you wouldn't even spare the fare for the subway. I suppose airport clothes are beyond your budget too, aren't they? She just asking for trouble, suppressing the anger in my heart. I tossed out a none of your concern and walked straight to the storage locker, deftly pulling out a brand new set of clothes to change into. After all, we were merely fellow travelers on the same path. Once we reached our destination, we'd go our separate ways. There was no need for me to fight over this petty pride. A dog bites you, but you can't bite it back. How does Ethan know so much about airplanes? Not only does he know where the first aid kit is, but he can also fly the plane and even knows there's spare clothes on board. He must have done his homework beforehand, just to show off. Then how do you explain the clothes fitting perfectly? Pure coincidence. There are plenty of coincidences in this world. You're right, I was overthinking it. Though everyone kept their voices low, Isabella still overheard their discussion. Unable to contain her anger, Isabella immediately confronted me, demanding to know what was going on. I didn't mean to clarify anything, just casually told the truth. This private jet is mine. Isabella rolled her eyes so hard they nearly flipped upside down. Ethan, is there a single truthful word that comes out of your mouth? Don't think a few smooth words will make me come back to you. Don't even dream about it. Don't misunderstand. I have no thoughts about you whatsoever. You'd better be. I shook my head helplessly. In my past life, Isabella's moods were as unpredictable as the weather, often throwing tantrums and smashing things over trivial matters. Once she hit me so hard on the head that I needed over a dozen stitches at the hospital. In this life, I just want to stay far away from her and never have anything to do with her again. After the plane landed, I gathered my belongings and was about to disembark. Wait, my diamond ring is missing. Isabella frantically searched through her handbag, but the ring was nowhere to be found. Everyone helped look for it. Could it have fallen when we hit that turbulence earlier? We checked the floor, even between the seat cushions. Could someone have taken it? Everyone's eyes turned toward me, though no one said it aloud. Their gazes spoke volumes. Ethan, if you took it, hand it over now, and we can pretend nothing happened. Ryan Carter patted my shoulder with a knowing look, already convinced the ring was in my possession. I shook off his hand, ignoring their suspicions, and walked straight off the plane. Before I could even reach the arrivals hall, a group of ground staff intercepted me. Isabella and Ryan Carter's group hurriedly arrived. After getting to know you, I've finally seen your filthy, true nature. Ryan Carter crossed his arms and looked at me with disgust in his voice. The other 6 people all chimed in, saying I didn't know what was good for me and shouldn't have messed around in my own circle. They say I'm jealous of Ryan Carter and resent Isabella, that I deliberately tried to ruin their happiness. That engagement ring of theirs is worth $3 million. They even advised Ryan Carter not to be soft-hearted, insisting he should teach me a lesson, saying calling the police would be letting me off too easy. Riding Mr. Carter's plane while stealing Mr. Carter's things, what a piece of work. Thieves are repeat offenders. Only by socially ostracizing them will they learn their lesson. Locking them up for a few years with free room and board is letting them off too easy. Their sycophantic behavior toward the powerful was all too familiar to me. Back in school, Ryan Carter and I never got along, and these people caused me no end of trouble just to curry favor with him. In our previous life, after Isabella and I got together, Ryan Carter positioned himself as her close male friend and did everything he could to break us apart. The relationship between Isabella and him was also ambiguous and hard to define. I thought since she had married me, I should trust her, so I never interfered with her private affairs. Later, Isabella's deep resentment toward me was undoubtedly fueled by Ryan Carter constantly fanning the flames. So after her rebirth, Isabella immediately sought out Ryan Carter, and the two seamlessly reconnected, swiftly confirming their relationship. That very day, she posted about it on Instagram, where all those people eagerly liked and commented, saying the swan had finally come to her senses and left the toad. Such a perfect opportunity to be a follower, of course. They rushed to curry favor. I know them. Well, the more I argue back, the more they revel in it. Then go ahead and call the police, I said. Isabella's eyes were red with anger. Ethan, I know you hate me, but that ring is a symbol of my love with Ryan. What will it take for you to return to me? Ryan Carter immediately pulled Isabella into his arms and scolded me. Though the ring means nothing to me, financially, love is priceless. You couldn't have it for yourself, so you try to tarnish our love instead. You call this generosity? Are you even a man? The sycophants immediately gasped in awe. $3 million meant nothing to Ryan Carter. Such extravagance, such largesse. Everyone gnashed their teeth in fury. We'd rather donate to an animal shelter than let Ethan get a penny. Ryan Carter couldn't hide the triumph in his eyes as he shot me a mocking glance. He claimed my frantic search for a first aid kit and even piloting the plane were just ploys to get Isabella's attention. He even said if I needed money, I could ask him for it for Isabella's sake. He give me any amount. But I had to resort to such despicable methods, and he absolutely couldn't condone this kind of behavior. Their arguing gave me a headache, and I just wanted to call the police to settle it quickly. Ryan Carter disagreed, saying the ring was so small that ID had plenty of opportunities to dispose of it along the way. He insisted on conducting an on-the-spot body search. The innocent have nothing to fear, while the guilty will be exposed. If it helps clarify the matter, quickly a body search is nothing to worry about. I spread my arms wide open without hesitation, cooperating fully with the staff's inspection. The ground crew swept the metal detector over my body several times, but the device showed no reaction whatsoever. It was almost certain the ring wasn't on me, but Ryan Carter just wouldn't let it go. Machines can make mistakes. Take off your clothes for a search, and we'll definitely find it. The ground staff exchanged glances looking at me with pity in their eyes. ID had enough. I'm under no obligation to listen to you. Can't handle the truth. Already no one would believe the ring isn't on you, would they? I said we could either call the police or drop it. Thief, crying stop thief. I've seen this trick plenty in business. Don't make this uglier than it needs to be. I could still arrange for you to work as a security guard at my company. The classmates waiting on the sidelines only added fuel to the fire, egging the ground staff to take action immediately. By this point, some ground staff had recognized me and were even more hesitant to approach. Isabella suddenly burst out stalking me like this one work. I already told you it's impossible between us. She raised her hand to slap me, but I caught her wrist and shoved her away, causing her to lose balance and fall to the ground. Ryan Carter was furious. If you can't have her, you try to ruin her, have the guts to come at me instead. I didn't want to waste any more words on them, so I took out my phone and dialed 911. Isabella shouted at me, "Do you know the consequences of making a false police report? Ryan has been thinking of you at every turn, yet you don't know what's good for you. Who has such bad manners making a scene in public like this?" The crowd of onlookers parted to make way as a familiar figure walked toward me. Chloe Miller, though dressed casually, captivated everyone's attention with her sweet face and the aura she exuded. Where did this beauty come from? Her presence is stunning. She looks so familiar. Have I seen her somewhere before? Could she be a celebrity? Ryan Carter and his group of classmates were completely mesmerized. Chloe Miller made her way through the crowd to my side, smiling at me. "Darling, why are you so slow? I've been waiting for you for ages." Hearing Chloe's term of address for me, Isabella froze, her expression visibly darkening. Isabella glared sideways at Chloe Miller, my wife in this lifetime, with undisguised hostility. Ryan Carter burst out laughing. "So you called for backup? No wait for an actress. This beauty's appearance fee isn't cheap, is it?" He then turned to my wife and added, "Better be careful about collecting your final payment." Chloe Miller stomped hard on Ryan Carter's foot. "Is this how you shamelessly flirt with girls all the time? Trash." Ryan Carter let out a yelp and hopped around, clutching his leg, looking utterly ridiculous and making all the kids nearby burst into laughter. The classmates all wore expressions of disbelief, unable to process that Chloe was actually my wife. Isabella's eyes seemed to be smoking with rage. "How come I never knew you were married? As if she's the only one allowed to marry, and I'm not supposed to live well." I couldn't be bothered with her, so I took Chloe's hand and walked away. "No one leaves. The ring hasn't been found. Yet could it be you're in a hurry to sell stolen goods? His wife is here to help him escape. We can't let them get away." Isabella and Ryan Carter, the husband and wife duo, blocked our path in perfect coordination. Not to mention 3 million we wouldn't even bat an eye at 30 million. Chloe had just heard the whole story and was fuming with anger. The hangers-on were extremely dedicated, constantly supporting Ryan Carter's stance, chiming in one after another. Truly birds of feather flock together. Both of them love spouting nonsense with their eyes wide open, talking straight out of their asses. How could someone so beautiful fall for a loser like Ethan? Need you ask? Either she is a gold digger or they're running some scam together. These hangers-on kept mocking my wife, their words growing more outrageous by the minute. My wife sneered coldly and stepped forward, calmly pointing at them as she said, "One know who is human and who is a dog. It's simple. My husband couldn't have stolen your worthless ring, so it must still be on the plane." Chloe made a phone call, and within 10 minutes a professional search team appeared before everyone. "Mr. Carter, if you say the plane is yours, then how come you didn't know the airport has a professional search team?" Ryan Carter's face immediately turned green. "The plane was a birthday gift I gave to Chloe. She uses it more often, so I wasn't aware of the search team, let alone Ryan Carter." In less than 10 minutes, the search team found the ring, and it was discovered in the corner of a luggage compartment. It was obvious who hid it there. Ryan Carter instantly deflated like a balloon. Isabella looked skeptical, refusing to believe it, insisting that Ryan Carter couldn't have hidden it. Chloe didn't mince words with her. "If he didn't hide it, then you must have. This ring is worth 3 million. Who would joke around with 3 million? 3 million is indeed no joking matter, but what if it wasn't really 3 million? You want to say my ring is fake? Have you even seen a diamond ring before? How dare you spout nonsense?" At that moment, someone sharp-eyed in the crowd noticed the unusual sparkle of Isabella's diamond ring and suggested getting it appraised at the airport's jewelry counter. No need, Ryan Carter stopped Isabella. What do they know? They're just jealous of you. Don't fall for their tricks. Oh, come on, real diamonds aren't afraid of being tested, or are you feeling guilty? Chloe covered her mouth and laughed. Just go already, Mr. Carter. Amidst everyone's jeering, Ryan Carter's expression grew increasingly grim. What would a country bumpkin like you know about the brilliance of diamonds? Don't even mention a 3 million diamond ring. You probably haven't even seen a 30,000 one in your life. Just wait to be proven wrong, you bunch of country bumpkins. People of our elite class aren't to be casually doubted by the likes of you. With that, Isabella ignored Ryan Carter's attempts to dissuade her and insisted on getting the jewelry appraised. When a master jeweler at the counter examined it carefully, he confirmed it wasn't a real diamond, just a high-quality moissanite. At this point, Isabella was dumbstruck, and anyone could see what had really happened. She couldn't believe it and started yelling at the appraiser, pointing at his nose. What kind of scam shop is this? Just because you've never seen such an expensive diamond you call it fake? I think your eyes are the fake ones. Isabella kept cursing while smashing things, and no one dared to step forward to stop her. Darling, say something. This is the engagement ring you gave me. How could it possibly be fake? Exactly, how could it possibly be fake? I had a friend abroad buy it for me. Maybe he was the one who got scammed. Ryan Carter broke into a cold sweat, but still tried to weasel his way out. That's right, how could someone as wealthy as Mr. Carter buy counterfeit goods? Mr. Carter must have been tricked, whether it's a friend or a scammer. Who can really say? They finished speaking, winking and glancing in my direction. Chloe couldn't help laughing. You guys are such drama queens. Suddenly, someone in the crowd called out, Mr. Scott. I saw your private jet the moment I landed. Never expected you'd still be at the airport. The person greeting me was President Johnson of the currently trending tech conglomerate with whom I had several business dealings. He warmly grasped my hand and chatted amiably, thanking me for my generous assistance last time, then invited me to dinner next time. After exchanging pleasantries, we said our goodbyes. Everyone's pupils dilated with shock, their gazes filled with astonishment as they looked at me. That was the tech tycoon in person. Did I hear correctly earlier? He said the plane belongs to Ethan. Still saying Ethan helped him and even invited Ethan to dinner. Isabella and Ryan Carter stood by with ashen faces. The plane wasn't theirs. The rings were fake and their wealthy personas had crumbled. The airport's large screen happened to cut to a news interview, and the interviewee was none other than me. The headline read, "The Philanthropic Path of a Billionaire," recounting exactly what had happened by the food truck that day. Everyone gasped in shock and said sheepishly, Ethan, why didn't you mention earlier that you were making sandwiches? Because you just donated a new library wing. You're way too modest. You didn't even invite us to your wedding. We almost misunderstood you earlier. How embarrassing. You're magnanimous. You hold it against us, right? I casually replied, I told you just didn't believe me. Chloe rolled her eyes and snorted, opportunistic bastard, a fence sitter. Everyone exchanged glances, too embarrassed to speak further. Isabella, however, kept staring at me, intently, making my skin crawl. I ignored her gaze and smiled dotingly at Chloe, leading her out of the airport terminal. A Maybach was already waiting for me outside, just as Chloe and I were about to get in. A shout came from behind us. Ethan, how could you do this to me? Isabella's eyes were red as she chased after us. She grabbed my arm with such force that her veins bulged. I'm your real wife. How dare you marry this bitch? Her logic left me dumbfounded. What did she mean by real wife? That was from our past life. Does that even count now? Chloe was no naive pushover, and Isabella had clearly picked the wrong person to mess with. Chloe struck like lightning. First slap is for you, the shameless homewrecker. Second slap is for that pretentious fool of a man, and the third, that a freebie from the happy couple. Get out. Chloe couldn't take it anymore and slapped Isabella hard 3 times. Isabella was stunned by the blows, her face red and swollen, completely at a loss. Ryan Carter happened to chase after them and witnessed this scene, wanting to lose his temper but lacking the conviction. He could only turn to comfort Isabella instead, but she shook off his hand, took off the ring she was wearing, threw it to the ground, and stomped on it repeatedly. The two began arguing right in the middle of the street, even coming to blows. By then, our car had already started moving. Isabella watched helplessly as we drove away before collapsing to the ground in exhaustion. That past life is over. In this lifetime, I want nothing more to do with them. But against all expectations, Isabella cornered me downstairs the very next day. She had lost her haughty demeanor from yesterday, now meek and submissive, throwing herself at me the moment she saw me. I barely managed to dodge, my face twisted in disgust. Isabella stared at me in disbelief, asking what she could do to earn my forgiveness. I shook my head. How could I talk about forgiveness when I didn't even hold any resentment toward her? She panicked, unable to believe I had already let go of the past. All these years there hasn't been a single day when I didn't think of you. I just didn't realize that was love. Marrying Ryan Carter was just a mistake. The only one I love is you. I will get a divorce. I only want to make up for the mistakes of 2 lifetimes. I remember the day we fell from the building in our past life. I begged her desperately to live on, but she told me she would hate me for eternity. When she pulled me down with her, I saw it clearly. It was an expression of relief. I sighed softly. We had both struggled so hard to climb out of the abyss. Why can't we just cherish the choices we have in the present? 12. It's over whether in our past life or this one there's no chance for us anymore. Isabella grabbed my hand, tears streaming down her face. Have you no heart at all? I've already admitted my mistake. What more do you want from me? Having already died, once, why are you still so stubborn? No matter how many times we're reborn, some things never change. You bitch, I knew you'd be here. Ryan Carter suddenly appeared behind me, grabbing Isabella's hand and dragging her away. Get out, you liar. You think I'm a liar then? So are you. Everything I did was for you. Isabella slapped Ryan Carter hard across the face, and the two began brawling right there on the street. Chloe listened quietly as I finished recounting today's encounter with Isabella, lost in thought. Chloe is not only my wife, but also my soulmate. I tell her everything. There are no secrets between us. Chloe burst into laughter when she saw the look of relief on my face. She told me not to get too excited too. Soon as Isabella and I might be seeing each other again before long. It just occurred to me that Chloe came to New York this time for work-related reasons. I looked at her curiously as she explained she hadn't originally planned to accept the organizer's invitation, but after seeing Isabella today, she changed her mind on the spot. She said she wanted to help me get revenge the next day. Chloe gave me an admission ticket to the literary summit, insisting I must attend. At the same time, Isabella also messaged me demanding I come watch her receive her award, as she had something to say to me. 13. I have no idea what Chloe has planned, but her appearance at the literary summit is bound to cause a sensation. Because Chloe is this year's Nobel Prize in Literature winner and the most enigmatic recipient to date. Though her works are already world-renowned, no one has ever seen her true appearance, let alone known her real identity. Her promise to the organizers that she would attend is undoubtedly explosive news. The press had crowded outside since early morning. This was a major event in the literary world, and everyone wanted to catch a glimpse of her in person. I arrived early too. There wasn't a single important moment in Chloe's life that I wanted to miss. You came, Ethan. I knew you couldn't forget me. Isabella was thrilled to see me. You've misunderstood. I'm not here for you. Stop lying to yourself. We could clearly start over from the beginning. Her words always give me a headache. Don't look for proof that someone doesn't love you when you're in love, and don't search for traces of love when you're no longer in love. How could she not understand such a simple truth? I'm a married man. Miss Rossi, please behave yourself. I don't believe it. That woman is utterly ordinary. She can't compare to me in any way. What on earth do you see in her? Chloe is my wife, the most precious person in my life in my eyes. She surpasses you in every way. Isabella turned pale, barely managing to steady herself against the wall, yet clearly unwilling to concede. I'll prove to you that I'm the woman who deserves to stand by your side. I shook my head, no longer paying attention to her words, and walked straight away. You're really ruthless to your ex-girlfriend. Chloe was actually around the corner and had overheard my conversation with Isabella. I only have feelings for you. I gently brushed Chloe's nose with the back of my finger, making her burst into laughter. She leaned lightly into my embrace as I wrapped my arms around her. I remembered those 2 most difficult years of my life when Chloe came in my world. Her smile and optimism infected me, pulling me out of the quagmire of my emotions. When I was at my poorest, she never left my side, sharing a single pack of instant noodles or a piece of bread with me. Without her, I could never have achieved what I have today, so I'm deeply grateful and cherish her dearly. What are you thinking about again? Thinking about you. 14. An hour later, I finally understood Chloe's purpose for being here today. Isabella was the winner of tonight's Most Promising New Literary Talent Award, and Chloe, as a special guest, was responsible for presenting the award to her. At that moment, Chloe was backstage, secretly flashing me a heart sign with her hands. Soon it was Isabella's turn to take the stage. Confident and self-assured, she looked toward me, just as she had said, determined to prove herself to me. But confidence lingered on her face for less than 5 minutes before turning into fear. When the host introduced Chloe and revealed her identity as the Nobel Prize in Literature winner, the entire audience gasped in astonishment. But what Chloe said next stirred up an even greater storm. Isabella Rossi doesn't deserve this award because her work is plagiarized. And the person she plagiarized was me. The entire room fell silent, then erupted in waves of boos, each louder than the last. Chloe projected the evidence she had gathered onto the venue's large screen, revealing that Isabella had not only plagiarized, but also paid to manipulate the rankings. The high sales of her published book were all artificially inflated by Ryan Carter's money, and she was also suspected of multiple instances of data fraud. The crowd was in an uproar. Isabella cast a desperate glance at me, but my icy stare cut deep into her. You made your choice, now face the consequences. Reporters below the stage frantically snapped photos. Social media went wild with live streams. Soon the whole world would know. Isabella couldn't process what was happening. She clutched her own hair, muttering impossible over and over. Ryan Carter rushed onto the stage, trying to pull Isabella away. He viciously cursed her for being ungrateful while shoving her off the platform. The police and ambulance arrived. Quickly, Ryan Carter was arrested, and Isabella was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Ryan Carter was sent to prison for assault, and with no one to run the company, it soon went bankrupt. Isabella had thought she would rise to the top overnight, but instead she faced endless condemnation. A friend at the hospital told me she was surrounded by reporters and harassed by readers living in constant fear. After finally being discharged from the hospital, she didn't dare return to her old profession. Without Ryan Carter's support, she couldn't even find ordinary work. Her former friends didn't dare take her in, and she couldn't return her own home. I never heard from her again until years later when my daughter told me she kept seeing a homeless woman wandering around the neighborhood. Her clothes and hair were so filthy they dematted into clumps, her hands blackened beyond recognition of skin tone. Her face looked smeared with coal dust, behaving erratically as she pleaded with every passerby. "Can you ever forgive me?" My daughter approached her, placed a warm meal before her, and she bowed repeatedly in frantic gratitude. I sighed softly. The farce had ended. No farewells remained for what life was left. The end.